You know those moments when you just really want a quick orgasmic release? Maybe it's because you're dealing with stress, frustration, or at the end of a long day and you just take care of it fast. No shame. Most of us have learned to do it that way. But what if pleasure didn't have to be something you get over with? What if slowing down with your body could actually fill you up? Expanding your energy, deepening your confidence, and reconnecting you to something sacred inside yourself. That's what we're diving into today. Hello, and welcome back to Sacred Sex for Real Women, the podcast for woo-woo women and long-term love who crave wow sex, deep connection, and radiant confidence. This is where we bring sacred sex and feminine embodiment into your real life. No 3-hour rituals or perfectly lit candles required. And I'm your host, Jannine McKinnon, sacred sexuality coach, sex magic expert, small town homeschooling mama, and a woman who has walked the walk alongside you through the ups and downs of over 10 years with my husband. If you haven't already, hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love these conversations, please take 10 seconds to leave a quick rating or review. It truly helps this podcast reach more women who are ready to feel turned on in their bodies and in their lives. Okay, let's be real for a minute. Most of us learned to vibe one out as fast as possible before someone walked in the room. Or as that quick, all right, sex is done. I still need to get off. Let's pull out the vibrator and vibe one out. It might be a stress relief, a quick release, maybe even active rebellion. Oh, I don't need you. I can handle this myself. Or self-soothing. But here's the thing. What if that's only scratching the surface of what's possible for your pleasure? In honesty, relying on it that way is such a disservice to yourself and your pleasure. Today, we're talking about the difference between vibing one out and a sacred sexuality practice. Because when you shift from a quick goal-oriented release to an embodied, sacred, pleasure-based practice, your entire relationship with your body, your energy, your sexuality, and your desires changes. You go from pleasure being a quick escape to it becoming a path of expansion, self-discovery, and power. And since this month we're celebrating Black Friday, I have a special gift for my podcast listeners. You can join the Sensual Embodiment Collective, my membership that guides you through these practices, for 25% off all of November with code BF25. I'll share more about that in a few minutes, the link's in the show notes, but let's dive in. So here's what I see all the time. Women tell me they enjoy sex or that they masturbate once in a while, but they still feel disconnected from their bodies. They say things like, I masturbate for a quick stress release, but that's about it. I can get off, but it doesn't feel that deep. It's quick and done, but not necessarily satisfying. And it's not that anything's wrong with that. There's a time and a place for it, for sure. No shaming anyone here. But these patterns play out because most of us were never taught how to connect with our pleasure as energy. We learn to seek and release, not a relationship. When you treat pleasure like something to check off a list and just get done, you stay on the surface. And that's where numbness, low desire, and disconnection start to creep in. So let's break it down. When you're vibing one out, the focus tends to be on release versus expansion. You're trying to get rid of energy, get rid of that stress or that frustration or that sexual buildup, horniness, instead of building and circulating it. The focus is more on the goal, the orgasm, versus the journey. Your body tenses up trying to get there instead of opening to what's available. The focus is on that intensity versus the flow. You're chasing that peak with intense stimulation rather than letting pleasure ripple and expand. The focus is very outward versus inward. So your energy shoots outward at that orgasm. It's poof, gone. It can almost be draining in some ways, collapsing. Instead of filling you up and really fueling you and nourishing you. And yes, there can still be that like satisfied collapsing, but there's that shift in energy. The focus can be very top layer versus deep nourishment. You're touching the surface of your sexuality, but not the soul of it. A sacred sexuality practice flips that script. It's slower, it's conscious, it's presence-based. You breathe with your body. You follow sensation. You meet yourself through pleasure instead of rushing to the finish line. When I first started exploring sacred sexuality, I was honestly shocked. It was so completely different from vibing one out or anything I had ever known when it came to sexuality before, which I had enjoyed my sexuality before. But this blew my mind for how different it was. And the women I guide in my practices always say the same thing. That was so different. And it felt so nourishing to approach pleasure in this way. I can't wait to incorporate more of this. There is this whole new world that opens up. It's more nourishing, more connected, and honestly healing. For the first time, I realized that my body wasn't just capable of pleasure, but that pleasure was my power. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. I want you to know that there's so much more available that you have no idea is available to you. When you shift into sacred sexuality, your pleasure becomes this beautiful inner journey. It rewires your nervous system. It heals old stories and pains and awakens confidence you didn't even know was missing. Perhaps you do, but you might not realize the level of confidence that you're more than capable of embodying. You start feeling more alive, not just during self-pleasure, but in your whole life. Your morning coffee tastes better. You catch your reflection and actually smile. You feel turned on by being you. That's what happens when you learn to expand rather than just release. And this is exactly what we explore inside the Sensual Embodiment Collective. Through monthly guided journeys, breathwork, and pleasure practices that meet you where you're at, it's sacred sexuality made simple, so you can weave it into your real, messy, beautiful life. And again, you can join this month for 25% off with code BF25 at JannineMcKinnon.com/sensual-embodiment-collective, or just hit the link in the show notes. Now, here's why this really matters. Because staying in quick release mode doesn't just affect your orgasm. It affects how you live. When your pleasure is surface level, your confidence, creativity, and connection often are too. You feel drained, disconnected, and like something's missing. And when everything looks good on paper, you still just crave this more. But when you start working with your pleasure as sacred energy, you begin to rebuild your system from the inside out. Your nervous system learns to feel safe with more goodness. Your heart opens. Your energy rises. And suddenly you're magnetizing opportunities, intimacy, and abundance from a whole new frequency. That's why this work isn't just about sex. Yes, that gets to be a fun, juicy part of it, but it's also about how you show up in every area of your life. I've seen this happen with women inside the collective. They join thinking it's about spicing things up and feeling more turned on. And a few weeks later, they're saying things like, I can finally relax into my husband's touches again. Or one of my favorites, my yoni feels alive after it felt dormant for so long. Or, I didn't realize how not present I was with pleasure. It feels so electrifying now. Because it's not about performing or doing things. It's about presence. And that's something anyone can learn. Even if you're busy, stressed, or not sure where to start, or don't like doing meditations, your body knows the way. Okay, let's get practical. Here are 3 simple ways you can start deepening your self-pleasure practice today. No membership or fancy tools required, although those are juicy additions you are more than welcome to weave in. So, number 1, take orgasm off the table. Ooh, how does that land for you? Instead of making climax the goal, focus on what you're feeling right now. Breathe into it. Let it build. Let it fade. Let it flow without forcing an outcome. Tune into your body. What does it want right now? Maybe it's a gentle caress. Maybe it's anchoring firm touches. Maybe it's a jaw massage. Tune in and relish in the journey without the goal. Regularly, I don't orgasm in my practices, and they are so nourishing. And I also get to tap into these wild, expansive, rippling waves of pleasure when they come as well. We get to hold both. Okay, number 2, to weave into your self-pleasure practice is to start from the edges. This is something more women need to be taught. I will be including a whole thing on this in a women's anatomy of pleasure course coming out. But for now, please don't go straight for the genitals. Don't just grab the vibe or the clit sucker, hook it to your clit and pump one out. I urge you and I invite you to begin with your outer edges. Run your fingers through your hair. Maybe give a little pull at the nape of the neck. Trace your collarbone. Send love to your belly and your hips. Breathe into the fullness of your breasts and your heart. Squeeze and anchor into your inner thighs and your legs and your feet. Awaken your whole body, not just one itty bitty part, because your entire body is designed for pleasure. And number 3, which is where we get into this nervous system rewiring, is to weave affirmations into your pleasure. Your nervous system rewires most easily in those little itty bitty, annoying, frustrating, subconscious limiting beliefs in moments of openness. So as you are touching yourself, breathing, or simply feeling good, say affirmations like, my body is worthy of love. It's safe to feel pleasure. I am open to receiving. I belong as a sexually empowered woman. I magnetize wealth and abundance. I could keep going and going. This is the same kind of nervous system rewiring we do inside the collective. But you can start right now, right where you are. And if you're loving this kind of work, hit follow or subscribe Next week's episode dives deeper into why affirmations work during pleasure and how to supercharge your manifestations through them, which is juicy and fun, and I do all the time. So to recap, Vibing One Out is about release. Sacred Sexuality is about expansion. It's the difference between draining your energy and amplifying it, between escaping your body and coming home to it. You don't need to overhaul your life or learn Tantra to begin. We don't need to do that. We don't need a partner who needs to do this. All you need is to slow the fuck down. Breathe. And bring presence into the moments that already exist. And if you're ready to go deeper, to be guided through these practices with sensual audios, monthly live journeys, and a sisterhood of women doing this work alongside you, join us inside SEC for the month of November only. And just for podcast listeners, get 25% off with code BF25. You can join us at JannineMcKinnon.com/sensual-embodiment-collective, or just click the link in the show notes because that link is super long. Again, that is code BF25. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this episode spoke to you, please leave a rating or a review. It truly helps this podcast reach more women just like you who are ready to live turned on and deeply connected. Wishing you a pleasure and love-filled week. I'll be back next Tuesday.